there's this parallel between Cosmo's theme and Arvo Pärt's Fratres. It's such an interesting, that movement, that da, 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 and then back up. And I also find it interesting that line. I think if you look here, look at bars 3 to 6, and you see how the line goes down in those first violins. I love that he comes down with this da 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 da, and you'd expect, he's gonna resolve down here, which makes sense, right? But he doesn't. He goes right back up to the same starting point, and he uses his Cosmos theme basically. He kind of does this throughout this score, that he kind of always leaves things unresolved in ways that still feel resolved. I don't know. It's this kind of magical approach that he has. But yeah, the violin ones go back up to the E C sharp. You could see there in bar 7. I always found that very interesting.
And there may be other cues where we dig a little bit more into that, but partially I think I'm holding off on some of that because to me, at least to my ear, yes, the brothers inspired, or at least related, the Fratres inspired theme is in the here, and it's introduced in bar 3. But once we get all this other texture going, if I'm being honest, it's like that's kind of not. It feels like there's a lot of other things to distract us from that theme. It's more like it's set up the beginning, and it's hypnotically, it's strongly suggested throughout the rest of this cue.
Right.
But not as clearly in the foreground that would lead to a direct correlation of the brothers theme. So maybe we save that for the other one. We're right.
Well, it is interesting though that is definitely Cosmo's theme. I mean, when Cosmo is being dragged off at the end there, when you see him being pulled back by the police, that theme comes back, and it's very clearly his theme, because also when we then look at 7M1, which is a scene that happens in Cosmo's office, that is a very, very clear Cosmo theme.
So maybe what we could do then is, maybe this is just a perfect time. That way we don't forget it later. So we will have clear examples of the brothers, the Fratres later. But let's go ahead and just do our quick little analysis of this, and that way at least we've at least hit that. Okay. So David, I'm asking a lot. If you would be so kind now as to share my Rev 1 PDF, okay, and we'll get that on screen. And then maybe play also that MP3 from about a minute into it,
While David's doing that, I'll let you know, everyone, that, and this is something I think we were going to talk about later, but I'll bring it up now, is that Phil Alden Robinson and James Horner talked about what kind of music they wanted to use in the film. And what they temped the film with were John Adams, I have it written here, Chairman dances, shaker loops. Philip Glass, they used dance pieces, specifically In the Upper Room and Glass Piece 7 Facades. In Glassworks, they used the Island Facades closing part. And then from Arvo Pärt, they used Tabula Rasa, specifically Cantus and Fratres. And Steve Reich, they used wind, strings, and keyboards, and Different Trains, electric counterpoint. So they definitely had the idea of minimalism is what Phil Alden Robinson communicated to James Horner as being the overall thematic thread throughout the film.
Thank you so much. Thanks for that, Tim, and thanks to also David. Brothers goes on for a while, and it's one of the more way that it also flows with variations. I grabbed the part that to me felt the most analogous between the two. You're looking at Brothers in A, and now next, David, if you could actually play Fratres, the MP3 I have, about a minute into it, and just for a little bit, that would be awesome. Awesome. So now what I'd like to do is go ahead and scroll down there, and you're going to see this is Cosmo's theme, which is in G, right? So that's what we just heard. And we were going to be hearing several times today. I think the one of the things I'm kind of want to run with here is, yes, of course, the Fratres is 7/4, 11/4. It's switching, it's alternating, but I would actually argue that for ease of film scoring, as well as this kind of idea of dance, for me, one of the things I picked up from the score is this that it's game, it's play. And for me, waltz tempo does that. And so, yes, Cosmos theme is a waltz and it's in 3, but there is enough variation that to me, it also references the temp, that it keeps you guessing. So probably in a different universe, this could have been notated different ways in Horner's, because just even looking at the groupings, it's keeping you guessing in the same way that the Arvo Pärt does. And also, just for ease of comparison here, you've got Cosmos theme, which is once again in G, and then Brothers written out in G as well. So, and if you can kind of see, maybe just zoom in just a tad. Now, obviously, Horner goes with more of the strict 6th, which I think probably has a little bit more, is a little simpler in some kind of presentation, and maybe is a little bit more allied with Cosmos, the character. I don't want to say too much about that because this is all me guessing after the fact. I'm sure Tim may have some other things to say about this. But for me, I just do want to look at the intervallic. If you do look at the 7ths and also the crossed voices and the cross kind of harmonic and accidental language there, it's clear that the Cosmos theme is borrowing from this, but a little simpler. And we will have a version with that low piano riff, by the way. So that's the other thing, that piano open 5th sound. That's going to come back in a big way. I'll let somebody else talk for a second. Tim, you want to jump in there?
Yeah, I don't know if the 6ths have anything to do with the Arvo Pärt piece. I think 6ths, maybe this is just me completely guessing, but I think 6ths to Horner tend to sound sweet. And even though the theme, it's on the what is it? The Phrygian dominant is the scale that's used. Yeah, the Phrygian dominant. I think, isn't that right? Is that what I say in the book? I forget now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Even though it has this sort of exotic sort of sound, the 6th sounds sweet. So I think what Horner is doing is he's triggering in your mind a sense of frailty and innocence that Cosmo has. He wants you to feel bad for Cosmo, because ultimately you do. You feel bad for him because he's maybe not necessarily, his life turned out not to be the way he wanted it to be because he had to go to jail, is what it comes down to. And he has also a little bit of jealousy. He even says this at the very end, to the Robert Redford character. He says, "You're the one that always got the girls, and I never did." So there's a bit of jealousy. What I think he's doing is he's creating this theme by design to make you feel bad for Cosmos, but also to show that his character is a little bit unmoral and a little bit off center.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Anyway, that's my read on it.
Yeah, I agree about the 6 for sure. Go ahead, Ron.
It definitely has that sweet feel to it, and vulnerability. I mean, the fact that it's orchestrated up there with the high strings, doubled with the vibraphone, if I'm not mistaken. He's got it doubled with a few different things here and there. I think at one point he has it doubled with a synthesizer as well. So yeah, he obviously has a way of orchestrating it as well that gives you that sense of vulnerability.